Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the first of many 2023 rookie mock drafts that will be on this channel. Welcome to the channel. I am Brandon Lejeune. I am with Jason DiRienzo, a good friend of mine, and we are here tonight, and we're going to talk about the 2023 draft. We're going to talk about a rookie draft. We've been on this channel for the last month or so, Jason. We've been doing game films. We've been doing rookie profiles and rookie reports, and now we are excited. We are going to do a 2-round rookie mock for next year. It is never too early. College football is kind of coming to an end very shortly. We're about 3/4 away through the NFL, so the draft season is here. So again, welcome to the channel. This is going to be a little bit of a different rookie mock that you may have come across on YouTube, because we are going to assign landing spots as well as draft capital to these players. All of our favorite college players headed to the draft. So it's going to add a little twist. Jason, we were talking pre-show, right? And I think all of us that have been playing Dynasty Fantasy, we look forward to our rookie drafts. How much do you think landing spot plays a role in our selections?
I think over the last couple of years, we have found out that landing spot plays a big role, especially in the fact of development, coaching, scheme, opportunity, all of that.
Yeah.
So, especially with running backs too, the last thing you want is a guy who you loved in college to get stuck on the depth chart, 3 behind the starter. That's not cool. So it definitely plays into it.
Yeah. So situation matters, the way I like to say it. So let's take a quick look, Jason, before we start this draft at the draft board itself. Now, all these draft players here, guys, you're going to see the draft, the landing spots and the draft capital was from Tankathon, which is a website out there. I took the majority of these landing spots. So I just want to briefly discuss each position. It looks like from the quarterback situation, it's going to be the Houston Texans, right? It's going to be the Carolina Panthers. They look like they are going to be the 2 worst teams, and they will have a shot. Do you think it looks like here on this particular mock draft that the Panthers are going to get young? Stroud's going to Houston. Do you anticipate, if those 2 teams are at the top, that there's going to be any deviation of taking a quarterback for these 2 franchises?
From what we've seen this season, they have no choice but to try to go after one of these quarterbacks. So I do not think so.
Yeah. So we got Will Levis going in round 2. We've got Hendon Hooker. Unfortunately, he blew his knee out. He drops down to round 3. And then Richardson, we don't know if he's going to declare or not. He may go back to Florida. And the other guys probably aren't going to be in the conversation for at least today's 2-round rookie mock. So let's head over to the running back position. We got some good juicy landing spots, I think, on some of these. Some interesting ones as well. I mean, Bijan going to Atlanta. I think if that happens, Tyler Algier will be in the rearview mirror on our dynasty rosters. Jahmyr Gibbs going to the Bills, I thought was an interesting. Those are the only round 1 players, at least on this mock, or at least on this draft board. And then we've got a slew of 4 players. What do you think about those round 2 landing spots for those 4 running backs?
It makes it difficult. It really does. I'm a big fan of Tank Bigsby, but that's a tough one, man. Behind Saquon Barkley, we don't know if he's going to get re-signed or not, but that's not a situation I'm willing to take a guy early on in my rookie draft. And it's just kind of up in the air. Blake Corum, majority of these guys have a couple of question marks. I think Sean Tucker might have the easiest route to immediate production.
Yeah, I kind of like Zach Evans here, though, going to the Dolphins. I mean, there's not much there. I think he would be an explosive piece.
Oh, you know what? I miss Zach Evans. Yes, Zach Evans is definitely number 1.
I think that I'll tell you right now, that team is going to go somewhere, man. That is going to be an offensive juggernaut if they go. Yeah. We got Blake Corum going round 3. We got Kendre Miller going to my Philadelphia Eagles, which is an interesting landing spot. And I love Kendre Miller. I'm not sure I love that landing spot. We'll sure be talking about him. And then again, we got round 4 players. We'll see if they make it into our 2-round rookie mock here. So let's go to the wide receivers. Some really good landing spots here for some of these players, not so good for others. It looks like we got 4 players going in round 4, which I can see. I don't know if Josh Downs is going to make it into round 1. He might, I'm not sure, but I don't expect Tillman. Yeah. Hyatt might now, given his latest rise. These round 1 landing spots, I am assuming Jordan Addison's your favorite out of these?
Oh, absolutely. Jordan Addison is definitely my favorite. And I think Jackson Smith-Njigba team back up with Fields is going to be really interesting too.
Yeah, old players, right? Old, guys that played together. So good stuff there. So, and then we got the tight end. Looks like we got round 1, Michael Mayer. He seems to be the tight end 1 of the class. I'm a big Dalton Kincaid fan, not going to round 3, Darnell Washington. We'll have to see if any of these guys, but I think it's a pretty deep tight end class overall. I like some of these players. I'll tell you, I watched a lot of Luke Musgrave. I put 2 films out on this YouTube channel about him. Let me tell you something, man, that dude can ball out. I expect him. They have a round 3 grade on him. He may sneak into round 2, but man, that guy is an athletic freak. I really liked his film.
Yeah, Oregon State has really missed him this year. He's a dynamic tight end, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see how he recovers and what he looks like after that injury.
So you ready to get to it?
Let's do it, man.
All right. So I'm going to take the first pick here, and I think it's an easy one for me. I like Stroud. I'm not the biggest young guy, so I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson here. I'm going to get that RB1. I'm going to get that Jonathan Taylor, hopeful guy. I mean, Bijan Robinson's been the #1 running back in all of Devy, all of college football, from being a translatable dynasty asset for a very long time. And I'm going to not give up. I'm not going to take a swing on these, Stroud and Young. If you go back and look at history in the top 5 quarterbacks, or the top quarterbacks drafted in the first 5 or 5, 6, 7 rounds over the last 10 years, it's not a pretty picture. I'm going with Bijan Robinson. If he lands in Atlanta, I like the landing spot. It's, he's going to get, he's on turf, he's indoors. Wish they had a quarterback maybe that he won't face stock boxes, but I can't give up Robinson here at the 101.
I would have done the same exact thing. I mean, he's going to catch a ton of balls too. I think that he's just the next coming as a blue chip running back, and I wouldn't want to miss out on him either. So I totally understand this pick for you.
Go. You got the next pick, buddy.
I got the next pick. So with this one, in this format, we're doing the super flex format. I can't miss out on a quarterback, and I'm going to go with CJ Stroud here. Houston Texans, they need a quarterback. Davis Mills is not the guy. And insert CJ Stroud, and I think it's already an immediate upgrade. How he develops, I'm unsure, but I think he'll do much better than what Davis Mills has done. And I want this, in the format that we're playing. And so I'm going CJ Stroud. Yeah,
I probably should have mentioned this is a PPR tight end premium, so that might add a little something as we go through here. I like that call too. I think Houston, Mills right now, there's rumors he's going to get benched for Kyle Allen, I think the backup name is. So, I mean, I think it's already happening. They're already ready to turn the page. Yeah. They should play the quarterback who's going to not win them any more games, so they have their pick at quarterback. Now, here I am at the 103. It is my turn again. We're going to go back and forth with these picks. I'd be putting this pick up for me personally. I'd be putting this on the block. Most people, I'm going to take Bryce Young here going to the Carolina Panthers. Not a big fan of the landing spot. He's got some decent receivers. I personally am a Bryce Young guy that is a little concerned about Bryce Young. I'm concerned about his size. So if I'm here in this spot at the 103 in my rookie draft, I may be putting up this spot as a trade and saying, hey, who wants to come up, drop down 5 or 6 spots, 3 or 4 spots, get one of these good wide receivers, one of these good running backs, and take that value. But I'm going to say that's not part of this, and we're not doing trades in this rookie draft, so I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to take Bryce Young because I can always just draft him and trade him. Again, it's super flex. These are the only 2 quarterbacks that I feel comfortable even taking in rookie drafts right now. I'm not going to pass up taking Bryce Young here, going to the Carolina Panthers with the 3rd pick. So
I was just going to say, I think the using him as future draft or trade value, I think that's a smart move here.
Yeah.
He's going to have a ton of value in this
absolutely
type of format. Yeah. So my next pick, I am going to kind of look at the landing spot here, look at opportunity and the talent, and I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he would fit like a glove with the Bills offense. They need a running back with his type of dynamic skill set and, that PPR value that he's going to deliver. I think that's something that is going to really allow him to rise, and he's going to take over what Devin Singletary is limited at doing. And I think there's major upside here.
Yeah, I was really interested by that selection on that mock draft because they've got Cooks there, right? And
Cook, and
they haven't really given.
Develop,
yeah, he could possibly develop, but Jahmyr Gibbs is a special talent.
Pure talent,
yeah, he's a special talent. I mean, I think him and Robinson are at the top. They're tier 1, and then everybody else, there's maybe a little bit of a question mark. So, all right, I have got the next pick at the 105, and I'm going to the wide receiver. Well, I'm going to take Jackson Smith-Njigba. I've seen enough of him at Ohio State. I like the landing spot with Justin Fields. He is an ascending dynasty quarterback. I know you're happy. You're a Chicago Bears fan, so I'm sure you're thrilled. But listen, I think this kid's a playmaker. They played together in college, for 1 or 2 years? I think they were together.
I think 2 years.
2 years. All right. So they've got already a connection. And I don't know. I think that's a good move by the Chicago Bears. They need to surround Fields with talent. And why not bring back an old teammate of his that already have played together? I think it is a match made in heaven. And I would expect. And listen, Jackson Smith-Njigba right now, he's kind of fallen in drafts. It might be he's been out of sight, out of mind. He's been dinged up this year. He's been injured, but we've seen him and his ability on the field, and following Chris Olave, and Ohio State produces wide receivers, and I'm not going to give him up right now. So like the landing spot, like the player. So I'm taking Smith Najigba at the 105.
Yep. Everything you said, I'm right on board with, and I love that pick. With my next pick, oh God, this is so hard because it's the Packers, and we just talked about I'm a Bears fan, but I really like the talent of Jordan Addison, and I think that he would excel in this Packers offense. They need a dynamic weapon like him who's able to separate, and be on time at the catch point for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's really struggling to get connection with his receivers. He needs an intelligent guy, and that is Jordan Addison. So I'm going with Addison here.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick, and and better late than never getting Rodgers some talent at the wide receiver. I can understand his frustration, and that would be a great pick. They owe it to him to go out and get a twitchy receiver who can get open. Christian Watson should remain the vertical boundary player. Jordan Addison is going to feast in the middle of the field.
They'll complement each other very well.
So at the 107, I'm going back. I'm going to lean on Quentin Johnston here, going to the Texans. The Texans have 2 first-round picks in the top 10, given a trade that they had done with another franchise. So CJ Stroud, Quentin Johnston, nothing would be better than to give CJ Stroud a great, great player. I'm a big Nico Collins fan. I think he's an ascending player as well. I think that Quentin Johnston would be a great addition. If they want to draft a quarterback and provide him the environment and the opportunity to be successful, they need to add playmakers on the outside. I think Quentin Johnston fits the bill. And, I was a little nervous about Quentin Johnston, but the more I watch his film, he's very twitchy for that 6'4" frame. He is a freak athlete, and I think he's got big things ahead of him on our dynasty roster. So I'm going to take him here at the 107.
Yeah, he boxes out really well along the perimeter. That's a perfect spot for a guy like CJ Stroud to get the ball down there. So I like that pick. With my next pick, and you kind of brought it to my attention earlier, and I like Zach Evans to the Dolphins. I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer at this point with pick number 8. The upside there, he's a good pass catcher, dynamic runner. Give me that all day with the opportunity, just sitting right there waiting for him.
Yeah, I think that would be a great landing. It's got to be one of the juiciest running back landing spots we've got, especially with Tua. He's never going to face a 8-man box with Waddle and Hill running around all over the place. So I like that pick. At the 109, I was struggling here. There's not really a running back now that I really want to swing with right now. So I'm going to go back with another player again who's underachieving this year, Kayshon Boutte. He's going to New England Patriots, which the landing spot makes me cringe. I'm not going to lie. But, I mean, he's a talented player. He just doesn't seem motivated this year. So it's a little risky of a pick. He is falling down people's boards in the draft community because of his lack of production this year. But we've seen what he can do when he's on and he's healthy and he wants to be involved in the game. Don't love the landing spot, but here's one of those situations where I'm not going to be landing spot dependent and not take a talented player. Mac Jones needs all the help he can get. They need a receiver up there at New England. Just maybe he is the answer to unlock that offense up in New England. I'm not going to pass on Boutte here at the 109.
No, I don't think I could pass him on either. And he also just becomes the guy immediately day one. And that's something you absolutely want on your roster. So I'm gonna shift over to the running back position on this one, and I'm gonna take Sean Tucker going to the Cardinals. James Conner keeps getting into the end zone, but he is not the answer or the future. They just got rid of Benjamin, and as much as I want to see Keontae Ingram rise, I am absolutely fine seeing a guy like Sean Tucker, who does nothing but just massively produce at the collegiate level, have his opportunity and showcase himself in that Cardinals offense that needs an identity, and they need to find the run game, and Tucker could help them do that.
Yeah, I like it. He's been, he's had a little bit of a down year this year at Syracuse. Last year he was a lot more productive, but good landing spot. He might, share time, but like you said, Connor's not going to be there forever. I'm going to go back to the wide receiver position here at the 111, and I'm going to take Josh Downs. And I'll tell you what, there's other receivers I think on the board here that I like from a talent standpoint, but I'll tell you right now, this landing spot with the Chargers is just as good as it gets with Herbert being able to sling the ball vertical. Josh Downs is kind of what that team needs with Mike Williams. The other guy's escaping my name, the older guy, but he's getting older too. What's the other receiver on that?
Keenan Allen?
Yeah, Keenan Allen, right?
Yeah.
So he's getting a little long in the tooth, right? So, I mean, they need an explosive, just playmaker who can stretch the field, work the middle, and let those two guys work the outside. But Josh Downs, that landing spot, I'm a little concerned about his size and physicality. You and I, we did a game, we did a whole rookie report on him on this YouTube channel. So go check that out. We had concerns about his physicality, but I'll tell you, I've seen these little twitchy receivers. Devonta Smith, I watch him every Sunday for the Eagles, and he seems to be productive and he is getting open. So not going to worry about that. But Josh Downs and Herbert tossing him the ball vertically. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah, with Herbert in the backfield, passing him the ball, he knows how to attack the middle of the field. I think that would be a nice little fit for him. I'm gonna go off format here, and I'm gonna take the number 1 tight end, and that's gonna be Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame going to the Colts. I like Jelani Woods a lot. I think there's a ton of upside there for him, but Michael Mayer is just that guy who's already well ahead in as far as intelligence in the years of football this early in this stage of his career. Nothing but producing on a Notre Dame team that can't find an identity, with Drew Pine throwing the ball and just constantly, catching balls and showcasing himself as a receiver and a blocker. I'll take that all day long in a tight end premium format.
Yeah, that's a good landing spot. I get concerned about their quarterback situation there.
I do too.
They're in that quarterback purgatory, right? They're but they might take a shot with one of these guys,
they could. And the tight end is a nice little check down option, and that could be helpful. So
that's true. All right. So let's go to round 2. I've got the first pick here at the 201, and I'm going to go with one of my favorite receivers in the class. It has been for most of the college football season. That's Cedric Tillman. Can I say that I'm in love with the landing spot with the Carolina Panthers? No, but it makes it a little easier that they drafted Bryce Young. So at least there's some hope. There's Moore's is the speed guy, the vertical guy. Cedric Tillman's going to be that boundary receiver that is going to be, what we all thought Marshall was, and Marshall may be, but who knows? But Cedric Tillman, I just love his size, his physicality. We've yet to do a rookie report yet on him, but he's one of my favorite players. Last year when I watched him against Georgia and Alabama, and his stats and the way he created space for himself, I've loved him ever since. So I'm not going to pass him up here.
Yeah, and he's a physical receiver too. So I think teaming him up with a guy like Bryce Young, that would be good for Bryce Young too. So I kind of like what they could develop early on the stage of their career and get that chemistry going. For my next pick, I am going to go with Marvin Mims to the Browns. The Browns are still looking for another guy to kind of complement Amari Cooper. Donovan Peoples-Jones is coming on, but who knows if he's the answer or not. Marvin Mims hasn't had that great of a year as of late. But at the same time, I've watched enough of his game film to feel good about, his pass catching ability, his, separation ability, everything that he needs to do to be a producer at the next level. So for me, I think teaming him up with Deshaun Watson could be a nice little play here.
Yeah, I think that connection could be good. I mean, we know Watson can sling the ball down the field, and Marvin Mims is a vertical threat. He's, got plenty of film out there. Oklahoma winning on deep, vertical plays. So I like that pick. I'm going with another one of my favorite. Again, there's just not a running back here I feel confident with that I think is going to be a bell cow. So I'm going to swing again with another wide receiver, and I'm going to go with Rashee Rice here. I like the landing spot. I'm not the biggest Kyle Murray fan, but he is able to sling the ball, and he's going to be able to learn from one of the best wide receivers that's played the games in Hopkins for, the last 7-8 years. I like the landing spot. I think there's going to be opportunity there for him. Again, he's just a player that I like, another bigger 6'2", 203 receiver that I think could, get in there. Rondale Moore kind of is the smaller piece, but he can't ever seem to be healthy. So, Hopkins isn't getting any younger. Kyle Murray's not going anywhere. They might have a coaching change. I'm not sure, but if, there is a new coaching change and Kingsbury is out, then at least Rice, if they draft Rice, it'll be their guy and they'll give him an opportunity as a round 2 selection. So I like Rashee Rice here.
I like that pick because I think Rashee Rice could fill in right what they were hoping to get out of AJ Green, and AJ Green's not going to be there. So that would be a nice little spot for him. So yeah, it's a good spot. I'm going to go on and go back to the running back position and Blake Corum to the Saints, even though Alvin Kamara is there. The reasoning behind this pick for me at this point, I like the talent of Corum. And if Kamara does get suspended, there could be immediate opportunity here for Blake Corum. So we could see if he could just rise and hold on to the job and, showcase himself and get some trust from the coaching staff.
Yeah, Blake Corum's been one of my favorite players for a long time. The big question is is he going to have the size, right? Is he going to have the
Right.
size to withstand the pounding? But man, I like that landing spot a lot. I can just see Corum in a Saints uniform too. I don't
I
know.
can too.
It
Yeah.
just looks right to me. At the 205, I'm going to take Kendre Miller going to my Eagles. All right. So I'm one of those guys that sits on the couch here in Philadelphia on Sunday, pulling their hair out why they don't run Miles Sanders more. And it drives me up a freaking wall. So the landing spot concerns me because, it's Jalen Hurts' team. They use his legs, a lot of short RPO, a lot of short passes, but I just don't understand why this organization will not hand Miles Sanders the ball 20 freaking times a game. So Kendre Miller, love him as a player. He's an ascending running back in college. He's an ascending draft selection. I think he's going to be rising up draft boards as we get closer to April. But going to my hometown team, if I can watch him every Sunday, I'm taking Kendre Miller here. Love his size, love his physicality. That's what the Eagles need, a bigger back who can, get those tough yards. I like it.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think that he would be great with the Eagles. Just the opportunity needs to be there for him. My next pick is a complete upside pick. Looking at who was left on the board and landing spots, this is an immediate possibility as a starter with the running potential, and I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson here. This is actually not a pick I would typically make, but within the format, possible trade value if he does perform early on with his legs, because I think that's actually where he could gain the most value running into the end zone. Based on what I could possibly pick here, I'm going with a guy that could probably start early on. So that was my thought process besides taking Anthony Richardson at this point in this draft.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's good. I'm going to follow you up with another quarterback, Will Levis. I mean, God, could there be a more controversial guy out there? But listen, shit, I'm looking at draft boards all the time, and he's still in the top 10. But we know that doesn't mean anything because last year's debacle with the quarterback thing. But still, I mean, he's still getting some buzz out there. So, in this particular draft, he was drafted in round 1, right? So any round 1 quarterback that you get, that has his size, his intangibles, his physicality, everything, it's just his, play on the field is struggling a little bit. I'm going to swing with the fences right behind you with Richardson. I was thinking of taking Richardson if you hadn't here. I think it's a good time at this middle of the second round. This is a super flex. The NFL is just starving for quarterbacks right now. So I'm going to swing here with Will Levis.
Yeah, it makes total sense at this point, especially within the format. So my next pick, this was a tough one, man. Once you get past these guys, I mean, even at Richardson, I was kind of a little bit, I wasn't too sure. But I think the unknown of what the Giants are going to do with Saquon Barkley makes me feel good about Tank Bigsby taking him here to the Giants. I just, I like the talent. He hasn't showcased himself as much as I would want him to, but Auburn in general has been terrible, so I'm not going to put that all on him. But if he does have the opportunity with the Giants and something happens to Saquon Barkley or the Giants move on from him, I'm going to be glad I took this guy, to the late part of the second round.
I like it. It should be interesting to see what the Giants do with Barkley. I can't imagine them moving on from him, but new coach, new regime in town. So who knows? They might trade him, get draft capital, take a young back. Who knows? At the 209, I'm going to take Jalen Hyatt. He's getting the buzz. I don't feel great about this pick, but again, his speed, the NFL loves speed. He's rising up draft boards. In this particular mock draft, he was selected in the early second round. So he's going to have the draft capital. The Atlanta Falcons isn't my favorite landing spot. I'm kind of surprised that anybody would mock them to the Falcons, given that they just, got Pitts and Drake London and stuff. But hey, if they're looking for a speedster to stretch the field, Mariota's probably going to go. I don't know if Ritter's going to get the ball next year. So there's a little bit of uncertainty, but again, speed. The NFL loves speed, and I'm going to swing here with Jalen Hyatt at 209.
Yeah, it's all about stretching the field, and you have them taking Bijan Robinson, team him up with Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I mean, that offense is starting to click. They just need to find that quarterback.
Right.
So with my next pick here, this is another just an opportunity thing for me, and I do like the talent a lot. And Israel Abanikanda has been performing at a very high level this season at college, and the Rams officially literally have nothing in the backfield. So I like the opportunity here, and so at this pick later in the second round, I feel pretty good about taking Israel Abanikanda to the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, they just got rid of Henderson today, so they're obviously going to be turning the page in that whole backfield. At the 211, I'm going to take Devin Achane, rather. He's going to the Tampa Bay Bucks, which was an interesting landing spot, given that they just drafted Rashad White. But again, I think there's going to be a whole, Brady's not going to come back next year. I just can't imagine. I don't know what they're going to do for the quarterback. They might just put White as that interior banger if they don't re-sign Fournette. But again, this kid's getting the draft capital. He's getting the buzz. I'm a little nervous because you and I have talked about it many times, Jason. His size is a concern at 185 pounds.
Yeah.
He's going to be nothing more than probably like a scat, third down back, maybe. I don't see him, pounding in between the tackles at the NFL level. But again, it's a PPR league. If he finds himself, getting the ball out of the backfield and, shares the backfield with White, we'll see what happens here at the 211.
Hey, if Brady's still there, he loves running backs like this that he could just check the ball down to and get additional yards. So that's a good fit. So with this last one here, I'm kind of go with my homer pick and my fave pick, and it's also an opportunity pick. And I'm taking Jalen McMillan going to the New Orleans Saints. Chris Olave looks like the next coming receiver that you want to make sure that you have on your roster. Who knows what's happening with Michael Thomas? There's not much there, even though the quarterback position is kind of not sure what that's going to look like. I believe in the talent McMillan, and I think opportunity is going to be key here. And based on what I'm looking at that I could pick from, I'd rather take a guy that I feel good about the talent and I like the landing spot.
Yeah, I did. I know he's been your boy for a long time. Yeah. So it looks like, all right, so let's take a look at this draft board. All right, so look, round 2, we got some solid players, but I'll tell you what, looking at this draft board right now, okay, let's take a look at it. These are the remaining players that were mocked on this particular mock. It only went through 5 rounds, okay? There's some quality players left. I mean, Zach Charbonnet going to the Cowboys, I think, is going to be a juicy selection. Eric Gray going to the Green Bay Packers is kind of interesting. Chase Brown heading to your Chicago Bears. I guess maybe Montgomery isn't going to be, the guy long term. What are your thoughts? So what do you see on this board? Zay Flowers going to the Ravens, which is an interesting pick. Round 2 draft capital. He's still on the board here in the 3rd round. Do you see anything on this board that excites you?
Not. It's all tough, man. I think Charbonnet would be the one that's most interesting to me. I kind of like Dalton Kincaid going to the Texans. If CJ Stroud was going to be there, that would be an interesting pick for me too. But there's not a lot of opportunity and talent where I see them kind of combining to make me feel good about it. Zay Flowers, that 2nd round draft capital, is interesting to me, but I'm not a big believer what Zay Flowers can be at the next level as a fantasy producer. And we've seen how the Ravens are with the receivers. This just kind of all over the place. So not a lot here. I think Charbonnet and Dalton Kincaid might be the most interesting 2 for me.
All right, so we're thinking maybe 2.5 solid rounds, because as much as we get excited about all these running backs, folks, let's realize that there's probably going to be 5 or 6 that make it to our dynasty rosters as consistent contributors. That's what history tells us, right? So as much as we love all these guys in college, and Jason and I have been watching these guys for 3 years, so there you guys go, man. There is the first 2023 rookie mock draft. We're going to be doing these probably every 2 or 3 weeks. So again, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in. We got game films on this channel. Jason and I are doing rookie reports where we're going over their scouting and we're talking about what they look like on the field and landing spots, all sorts of good stuff. So again, thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.